Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be doing another What's It Worth, and straight to the point. We already covered the Gloomy Halloween Celesting, so sitting right behind me is going to be none other than the Gamma Halloween Celesting. Now this bad boy was actually caught and lent it to me by Adam as Illusion once again, so major shout outs to you. Here's your Roblox profile. But before we get straight into any of the facts, I want you guys to keep everything I say with a grain of salt. All this information is subject to change, especially with any of these new recent reskins. That being said, we can see this being a 1 in 81,920 chance to find in the wild, which is the same chances as finding a Gamma Noli Metronet. Now as for the GR, we can see this being a little bit more different, since I know initially in this recording, this is kind of a voiceover right now, but initially in the recording I did say 50 to 60. However, now we can see this being more closer to around almost 35 GR at the lowest to about almost 45 GR at the very highest. But before we get straight to the trading process, I also want to give a quick announcement regarding the merch. And as you can see by my character, I'm actually rocking some of the Gamma Noli merch, which is actually one of our limited merch. And obviously this is what it looks like when you have a Gamma Noli equipped. So yeah, I mean, we also have them for each of the other colors, which I'll probably put up on the screen. Go cop them before they're too late, as well as for our Gloomy Halloween Dust Kit merch. With that being said, let's now get straight to the trading process. Alright, let's go on the channel. Let's Payton, looking for offers on Gamma Halloween Celesting. And boom. And now let's wait for offers. Alright, and our first trade request is coming from Kegi Doe. So let's see what Doe has to share with us today. Alright, so they did just say we have two offers. So offer one's going to be our Orange Halloween Ikizune Pure Nimble. And then we have offer two, which is going to be our Gleamy Halloween Pink Dust Kit Pure Nimble, Gamma Cephalops Pure Robust, Gamma Mimask Pure Nimble, two Gamma Arcerasos being Pure Brawny, and the other one Pure Nimble. So now that we have both of our offers here present, let's get straight into the first offer. And with that being said, is that trade worth it? That trade has got to be a major thumbs up. And I mainly say that for the fact that, well, obviously it's a Gleaming Halloween Ikizune. Those have been really good as of now, and mainly for the fact that this one is going to be the orange one. You can see this being around almost 65 GR with great demand. So it's going to be a good trade to take nonetheless. Now going into offer two, we can see that we have all of these Loomians here. Pretty self-explanatory. With that being said, that trade is going to lean more towards a thumbs up once again. Do bear in mind, we do have some Loomians that have bad demand, such as a mask. The Cephalops isn't too strong, but the Arceroses will have about great demand. They're pretty solid overall. Each of these being around almost 15 to 18 GR respectively. That's for the Gleaming Halloween Dust Coat. We can see that being around 40 GR at the highest now, since a lot of them have just stabilized, with black and white also now being around the same as pink and cyan. Both these trades will receive a thumbs up. And with this being said, let's get into our next trade. All right, and the next trade request is coming from AKRPB. So let's see what AKR has to share with us today. So we start off with the Gamma Noli Metronet Pure Nimble, Gamma Halloween Dractus Pure Nimble, Gamma Protagon Pure Nimble, Gamma Pyramine Pure Nimble, and it's also going to be Idiosyncratic, Gamma Santa Duskin Tender Smart, Gleaming Halloween Celesting Pure Nimble, Gleaming Christmas Gargolem Pure Nimble, and for obvious reasons, this is a flex offer. So with that being said, let me quickly ask AKR as to whether or not this is their final offer or not, and we'll get straight to that. All right, and AKR did just say this is as to whether or not this is their final offer or not, while also removing some of the Loomians. We have now the Gamma Protagon, the Gargolem, the Dractus, a Gleam Dractus, another Gleaming Halloween Dractus, Gamma Marami, Gleaming Halloween Celesting. Obviously, that's what we're working with now. We're gonna put all those values aside. With this being said, is this trade worth it? This trade will lead more towards an E/W, and I say closer towards that lower end of the W, just because of the fact that the Gamma Pyramid isn't too strong. The Gleaming Halloween Celesting has decent demand. Gamma Marami though will be about 3 GR with decent demand, so it isn't terrible demand, but yeah, it is still decent. As for the Gleaming Halloween Dractuses, these will be around almost 5 GR at their very best. So yeah, we have two of those, so 10 GR total for that. As for the Gleaming Halloween Dractuses, we can see this being around almost 5 GR at the very top. So with that being said, we do have two of these, 10 GR total for that. For the Gamma Dractus though, we can see that being around 30 GR, since obviously it's the Halloween variant. And with some of these ads, it's not going to be too strong, but they do add up to about almost that 50-ish range, give or take. Overall, this trade is not the strongest you can take, but it is still a slight W. That being said, let's get into our next trade. All right, and the next trade request is coming from TXCQ7. So let's see what TX has to share with us today. We start off with a Gleam Express Protagon Pink Pure Nimble, Gleam Mecha Ikizune Pure Nimble, Gleam Soul Nectar Pure Nimble. And it does seem like this may be TX's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. All right, and TX did just say yes as to whether or not this is their final offer or not. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? This trade is going to unfortunately be a major thumbs down. Duke out, we're not even pushing, relatively around 10 GR at the very highest. Not too much to say on this, but TX did just say big fan, by the way. So major shout out to you, TX, and major shout out to everyone who's been watching and supporting nonetheless. I will say you guys have been very amazing as of late, so major shout outs and once again to all of y'all. But with this being said, it is going to be, unfortunately, as I did say earlier, a thumbs down. And that being said, let's get into our next trade. All right, and the next trade request is coming from No1_Noob1. So let's see what Noob has to share with us today. So we start off with a Cephalops Tender Clever, a Phage Nut Tender Smart, a Kayago Pure Robust, a Halloween Red Dakuta Brawny Foolish, a Zombie Wobblesk Pure Nimble, Faraglyph Brawny Sluggish is also going to be Temper, Christmas Gargolem Brawny Clumsy, Sandadeska Indifferent, Lacadia Brawny Foolish, Arceros Brawny Sluggish, Nevermare Tender Nimble, Dakuta Hyper Sluggish, Cosmeleon Hyper Frail, Frail, and a Nemesis, Dull Nimble. And it does seem like this may be Noob's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. All right, and yeah, Noob did just say no shortly after and is actually subbing out all the Loomians they just had. So I'm just gonna let them do their thing, and once they already got all that and they stop or whatever, I'll just base it off of that. All right, and I mean, it's been a while since I asked Noob as to whether or not this is their final offer now, and they haven't really responded, so we're gonna work with this. Is this trade worth it? Major thumbs down. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory whenever they're pushing towards 1GR. They don't need to explain any further. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into our next and final trade. All right, and the next and final trade request is coming from Peak, please. So let's see what Peak has to trade with us today. So we start off with the Gamma Wobblus, pure nimble, the Gamma Dakuda, pure robust, Gleam Santa Dusket, pure nimble, the Gamma Phage Nut, pure nimble, and it does seem like this may be Peak's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. All right, and Peak did just say yes as whether or not this is their final offer or not. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? This trade is going to lean more towards a thumbs up, and I'm mainly saying that because of the fact that initially in this recording I did say it was an E/W, but bear in mind, since this is around almost now 35 to 45 GR, I would say this is going to be more close to that thumbs up, since mainly we're just working with about 55 GR mixed. Pretty good trade to take at the moment. At the time, it wasn't too strong, but now I definitely say this is better trade overall, and that's mainly due to the fact that we have the Gamma Wobblus, which is around almost 25 GR with bad demand. As for the Gamma Dakuda, that's around 18 GR with great demand. Gamma Phage Nut around almost 10 GR with good demand, and as for the Gleam Santa Dusket, around 9 GR with decent demand. Not the worst trade you can take. Some people may say this is a W long term just because Celesting may stabilize and drop closer to around that 30 range. That being said, let's wrap this trade up. Alrighty guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, and join our Discord server. While you're at it, go join Reliable Values, as it states in the title. It is very much reliable, and I would highly recommend it if you guys have any questions regarding value and just overall demand help. But don't just stop there, head on over to my TikTok, because yes, Unc does post on his TikTok, and yes, although it is just my repost from YouTube, also go out there and check it out. And lastly, as I did state in the early part of the video, we actually did drop our merch, and as you can see by what I'm wearing, it's the Gamma Noli merch, and we do have the Gleam Halloween Duskets all aligned for 5 Robux each. Gamma Noli and all those Noli merch related stuff is going to be 50 Robux, since those are limited, so make sure to go check that out before it's too late. With that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy. Remember, pineapples are vegetables. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and stay safe. Peace.